Good morning. My name is Chelsea Stevenson, and this morning I would like to talk to you about something that you may already know. The face of education is changing. Let's think back to stories that we may have heard from our grandparents about their school experience. For example, my great-grandmother, she lived in rural Kansas on the prairie. So she attended school in a one-room classroom, and her teacher taught one lesson to all students of all ages. My great grandma and her classmates would practice arithmetic on small chalkboards at their desk. And then at the end of the day, the work they had completed would be wiped away, and you would better hope that those lessons taught that day stuck in your mind better than the chalk did on the slate board. So then let's flash forward a bit to when we were in school. So I'm 31, which means I took my first typing class in the fourth grade. And as a class, we would line up and head to the computer lab, sitting before these gigantic desktop computers, and there were orange rubber covers over the keyboards. And we'd hurriedly practice our typing test just so we had that free 10 minutes at the end of the day to play Oregon Trail. Despite the 50 minutes of typing a day, all of my schoolwork was done with pencil and paper, except for one extracurricular program I took place in where I got to write a book on a typewriter. So I was in the seventh grade when my parents surprised my sisters and I with our very first home computer. It was gigantic and very slow, and let's not even talk about how ridiculous dial-up internet was. But still, this device sat on a black card table in our dining room, and I remember researching sea turtles for a junior high science project, feeling like the whole world was at my fingertips. It blew my mind that I was looking at a website that maybe another seventh grader in China was looking at the very same time. But then my sister picked up the phone to call her boyfriend, which meant bye-bye internet connection, and that awesome sea turtle website was forever lost. I remember visiting the school library the next day, checking out lots of books about sea life, because at least books in my hand weren't going to randomly disappear. Now this year, just a few months ago, my nephew began kindergarten. He's 5 years old, all of 35 pounds, and he was assigned a Google Chromebook. This Chromebook will be his until he graduates high school, which basically means you're always going to have some sort of updated mobile learning device for all of your public school education needs. So, what's my point in all of this? The face of education is changing. It's changed dramatically in the last 100 years, and it's going to continue to change as the world evolves and technology advances. It's unrealistic that we as educators expect our students to learn the same way that students 100 years ago did. And on the same token, we must acknowledge that our students 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or even our classroom next year, they're not going to learn the same way that our students this year are learning. Flexibility is absolutely required in the classroom. So this is why I propose to you that our students, the 200 10th through 12th graders who are in our care every day, are transitioned towards the daily use of a mobile teaching and learning device. I believe our school, and most importantly our students, would benefit greatly from this technology because research shows it will not only increase the academic achievement of our students, but it's going to become an absolute necessity due to ever-changing technology. As with any technology, the possibilities are really endless, but for our school, I'm recommending the use of Google Chromebooks. So Google is a resource that we're all familiar with. You have a question, an idea, a thought. It's going to bring up thousands and thousands of results on a quick Google search. But did you know that Google company has created an array of applications, most of which are free, specifically for the classroom? And to go along with those applications, Google's also created a product line of computing devices. Google Chromebooks are a unique laptop device being used by many educators and students across the globe. I'm a firm supporter of the use of Google Chromebooks in the classroom because Google provides tools to engage students anytime, anywhere, on any device. This means that learning doesn't have to stop when the final bell rings at the end of the day. The big question is always what? What's this going to cost me, right? So Google Chromebooks actually start at $149 each and are literally built from the ground up. They're the #1 selling device in the United States for classroom learning devices, and there's over 20 million Chromebooks in use every day across the globe. So to supply Chromebooks for all of our students and teachers, plus to have an extra 25 as backup, I did a quick Google Education website search. It would be approximately $100,000. That's it. There is an additional ongoing cost for software and upkeep, but it just depends on the selection of various plans and options. So I believe the easiest way to implement change is by starting at the beginning. I would recommend that we begin with our incoming 10th graders at the start of the next school year, and then every incoming 10th grader would be provided a Chromebook. This would spread the burden of cost out over 3 years in order to have our school fully transitioned. There are many advantages to implementing the use of Google in our classroom through Chromebooks, but one in particular has me really excited, and it's called Cast for Education, which allows screen sharing between the students, teachers, and the classroom. This is done wirelessly, and it allows for the students to step into leadership roles, learning and leading right alongside one another. They also allow for group collaboration on project, instant changes and uploads to documents, quick sharing tools from teachers to students. For example, instead of me standing in front of my classroom and writing a really long, complicated URL for my students to then type into the computer or the Chromebook to go to a website, I can share the website across all Chromebooks through Google, and it will simultaneously appear on their laptops. So this method can actually save time in the classroom, which means we're learning more, right? So additionally, students are going to be able to take their Chromebooks home, which means learning doesn't stop. Students will be more likely to complete homework, but then they're also even more likely to learn on their own because they want to. Learning will just be accessible. So I know this would require an investment, but in my opinion, these students are worth it. We invest in their lives every day. We invest in their futures, and the future is becoming more technological. It's our responsibility as educators to prepare our students to achieve their fullest potential, and I believe that Google Chromebooks will help us get them there. Thank you.